Wilma Seawald, and I guess we'll just start out. You want to tell us your full maiden name?
I was born Wilma Marie Olson in Amory, Wisconsin, in Polk County.
Okay.
I don't have to tell all.
Could you tell us about your parents and exactly where you were born? Like, was it in a hospital or?
No. I was born at my parents' home on Lake Wapagasset near Amory, Wisconsin. My father was a soldier from the First World War, and my mother was a practical nurse. And my aunt and her daughter came and helped my mother when the delivery time came.
So it was actually at your parents' home?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I had one brother, 2 years younger.
Oh, okay. Was he born in Amory too?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything about your parents that's important?
Yes, I would say, because my father died when I was not quite 2.5 years old, and my brother was just a small baby.
And the Depression started not too long after that, didn't it?
No, that was later on.
Okay. But, so your father wasn't alive during the Depression?
No.
Okay.
In the meantime, my mother remarried a man where my father had worked at a farm in Dresser, Wisconsin. And she got acquainted with Gustav A. Hendrickson. And so they became sweethearts, and she married him in 1926.
Okay, so that would have been right before the Depression.
That's right.
Okay. So did you get any stepbrothers or stepsisters or
Yes.
any other relatives?
I acquired a very big family. 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
Huh. So you had a big family to make it through the Depression.
Yes. Well, so I should clarify that. Some of them were already married. They were that much older. Some of them were the age of my mother.
Wow. So he was older then?
Yes, he was 20 years older than my mother.
Wow. So how did you make it through the Depression with the big family that you had?
Well, I tell you, my mother had to pack a lot of school lunches. 5 of us at one time would go to school. And being we were on a farm, we never really wanted for anything. But I always said in my younger days that it was my brothers and my pension from the government that helped out the whole family.
Did you get any aid from your father serving in the war too?
That's what
Okay.
my mother received
So
a
that was
pension
the
for us.
Okay. What changes did you have to make it through the Depression years? Like with food or with clothing or?
Well, sometimes food was very scanty. Mother, of course, like I said, we were raised on a farm. There was always milk and eggs and chicken, and then butchered. So I can't say that we ever suffered.
Okay.
We are, we're in want at any time.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was a very good manager, and so was my stepfather.
Were you better off than most of the people in the area then?
Yes, we were.
Okay. Were most of the people on farms?
Yes, around where I lived, yes.
Okay.
My brother and I had a mile to walk to school in Dresser.
Do you have any memories of the Depression, specific ones that you'd want to share?
I can't think of any right offhand. I know when my mother would get company, she'd say, go out in the hen house and grab a chicken so we could have chicken for supper.
Do you remember any, like, the prices or how much work was or?
No, I can't say that I do because I was too young.
Okay. How old were you? Sorry.
Well, I was 14.
When it ended?
Yeah.
how was the farming during the Depression? Was it dry, or was it a crop farm that you lived on? Or was
Yes.
It,
But
okay.
it was small grain farm is what
Okay.
I would call it. My dad had dairy cattle.
Okay. Was it easy to sell what you grew on the farm, or
Yes.
it was?
Well, the milk was hauled to the creamery, and the small grains he would sell.
How are prices?
That I can't tell you. I don't remember
I
that.
don't remember. Okay.
Better quit for a
Yeah. Okay, well, so your dad was a farmer and sold milk to the creamery. Did your mother do anything to help get money?
No, she would, with all the family to take care of, she had plenty to do.
Okay.
Because we didn't have all the conveniences you have now, remember?
Yeah. Did your dad have to borrow any money to help pay for the costs?
Yes, because prices were so low for things.
Mhm.
Like eggs were 2 cents and eggs were 8 cents and hogs were about 2 cents a pound when they'd be shipped to the
Wow.
livestock for livestock in St. Paul. And that didn't leave a very, very big check when we came back. Sometimes it didn't even pay for the hauler to haul it.
Jeez. Did he borrow money from a bank then?
Yes,
Was
pay taxes and so on.
okay. Was that easy to do?
No.
To get a loan?
Well, he had good ratings, so he didn't
Okay,
have
so
any
it wasn't
problems.
too hard. Okay. Do you have any memories of living on a farm, like games you played, or?
Oh yes, we didn't have television, so my brother and I, as soon as we came home from school, we had our stories to listen to on the radio. We also had chores to do,
Aha.
which had to be done before we could do that.
What kind of chores did you have to do?
Oh, one of us had to fill the wood box, another had to go gather the eggs, and little things like that to help Mother.
Okay. What did you specifically have to do? Was there?
Usually I gathered the eggs.
Okay.
Milked the cows in the evening too.
Aha. What kind of games did you play? Were there kids in the neighborhood that you played with? Or was
Yes,
it
my
mainly your-
folks had about 3 neighbor families that they'd get together with. And they would visit and we'd play like rummy or pit or rook, card games.
Okay. Did you spend a lot of time outside too?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We loved to take hikes and ski, and we had a nice toboggan that we used. One time my brother broke his arm tobogganing.
Is there anything you want to tell us about your schooling? Like,
Well, I went to school in Dresser, and we walked a mile, like I said before, to school there, and they also offered a 2-year high school. But my folks didn't think that I was getting the right education in the 2-year high school, so they paid my tuition to go to Osceola to high school when I was a sophomore. So I finished my high school years in Osceola.
okay, what did you do after high school?
Then I went on to Polk County Normal. We lived in Polk County, and that was the normal school they offered for teaching. And I went there 2 years.
Did you end up becoming a teacher there?
Yes, I did for 2 years.
Okay. Where did you teach?
I taught in El Salem and Beaver Dam, in Wisconsin.
Okay. What grades did you teach?
All grades,
All grades. So it was a small school?
yes.
Okay. What type of work did you do other than that?
That's all.
That's all? Okay.
But I must say that when I was on the farm, that's where I met my husband-to-be. He
Uh-huh.
was the milk hauler.
Uh-huh. Was he the same age as you or older?
He was a little bit older.
A little bit older. Okay. So how did that come about? The whole relationship was.
Well, I went with him all the time that I started going with him the last year in high school. And we went together when I was going to normal school. And then we got married the last year I was teaching at Christmas time
Where did you get married?
at my home,
Okay. What was the date?
December 21st, 1941.
So after you got married and all that was over with, how long was it before you had children? And
My first daughter was born in 1943.
okay. And how many were there following that?
I had 5 children.
Okay. So the war started not long after you had your first daughter.
That's right.
Okay. Did anyone in your family have to serve?
No, my husband was called to the service, but he didn't pass the medical test.
Okay. Any of your half-brothers?
My brother was in the service.
Okay. Where did he serve?
He served in the Air Corps.
Okay. So did he go over to Europe?
No, he didn't.
Okay. Do you remember anything about the war, like rationing or?
Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay.
We had gas rationing, and we had a hard time getting tires. And food stamps we had in order to buy sugar and, I don't remember what else, but there were 2 different things we had to have food stamps for that.
Uh-huh. Was it hard raising children when you had only a small amount to live off of?
Well, we didn't do a lot of extra things, I'll tell you that. Buy a lot of extra clothes or anything.
Okay. Where were you living?
Well, my husband was working in a creamery, so we lived in Rains, Wisconsin.
Okay. Did you live there throughout the marriage, or did you move?
Oh, no, we moved quite a few times as his job changed.
Okay. So he always worked at the creamery then?
Yes, he did.
Different ones? Okay. Do you remember anything about hearing about the war, like Pearl Harbor?
Oh, yes, very definitely. When we were decorating my folks' living room and dining room with evergreen boughs, the news came over the radio that the Japs had struck Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we were all stunned at that time. And then everything was in an uproar from then on.
So this was when you were decorating for your wedding?
Yes.
So did that have any effect on your wedding, or were you more concentrating on the
No,
wedding?
we concentrated on the wedding.
Okay.
Then afterward, I had a brother-in-law that was called into the service. And his name was Raymond Anderson. And he served in the 14th Armored Division over in France.
Okay.
And was with that, and we had to write letters, and of course they were all censored, and his letters were censored, you know, when they came back to us. And I have one interesting thing to tell. They went into towns and took over towns with the Armored Division, and while he went into this one town, he grabbed some souvenirs for us. Should I get them?
Sure.
And I'll show you. These are the souvenirs that he got for me because I was the salt and pepper shaker collector. And we found out afterward that the town was not taken, and he really took these illegally.
So the town was still under enemy?
That's right.
Okay. Did he get wounded or
No, he
anything?
was very lucky. He wasn't wounded. He came back safe after the war he had souvenirs for us all too.
So what country was it that he got the salt and
In
pepper?
France.
In France, okay. Let's see.
So that went into the service. His name was Ivan, but I can't remember his last name.
Okay.
And he would correspond with us also, but he was in Germany.